Good afternoon. You're listening to My Conscious Dad on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm your host, Jasmine Urbina, here in the studio with my dad and co-host, Alex Urbina. And today we are going to be talking about what your young adults are struggling with, or possibly struggling with, because I don't think every young adult struggles with the same thing. But this was inspired by some of your young adult clients. So I'm going to go ahead and let you start off.
Well, yeah, not only is it just the young adult clients that I've been working with probably in the last maybe 15 years, but also more recently, and then some of the workshops that I've been doing, some of the kids that are coming through the trainings are a little bit older, and some of the kids that have been staffing. And then not too long ago, we were part of a documentary that a filmmaker was making regarding transformational work and personal development, and some of the kids that have been partaking in my trainings through the years came in, and I think it was just a good timing for us to talk about. It was a subject we haven't talked about in a long time, and I haven't had a young adult training for a while, but I think this is pretty cool. So and I also have young adult kids, and I asked one of my sons, or my only son, to call in and kind of chime in a little bit. But I'd like to start with you. What kind of insight could you give parents that right now, from your perspective, what is it the main thing that you're struggling with?
I think for me and also for my friends too, the one thing that we're always constantly going back and forth about is kind of being stuck in the what's next. We're going to school and we're working and we're trying to get our lives on track, but it just seems like there's a lot of pressure to have it already figured out. I do luckily have a lot of adults in my life that are telling me to go out and explore, and you don't have to figure it out now, and they're making me feel a little bit better, but I still put pressure on myself. Like, you need to know, you're 20 years old, you should already have a job, you should be thinking about buying a house, and I have all these expectations for what's coming around the corner, for my next birthday, and it's like there's so many things that I wanted to do by the time I was in my 20s.
I'm glad you said that, because the couple of distinctions that really land for me as you're talking is, one, that you have a high expectations of yourself. And it also sounds like you're not operating from an urgent place, you're operating from a desperate place. There's a distinction there that you can separate. One can be powerfully urgent in their decisions to manifest or create the life of their dreams, but also be patient, and also understanding in their patience that timing is everything, and that things, have to run its course. If you're in a race, if you're in a marathon, you're not going to be able to get to the end of the race as fast as you want to run. You can only run as fast as you're capable of running, which opens up now the possibility, as human beings, we have certain capacity within ourselves to achieve or get to a certain point, and if we're not in alignment with that, we're trying to get somewhere really fast, and we can't go as fast as what we're capable of going. And so I think you guys are stressing yourselves out because you want it right now. I need to have results right now, and that's not the way the world works. The way the world doesn't work as linear as you guys want it. The way it works is you have to put hard effort, and you got to put in nights of thinking and dreaming and wanting and yearning. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is some of the things that I'm noticing from young kids that they're lacking, that's not setting them up to win. So I'm going to talk about a few of them.
Okay.
One is, I'm noticing that for the common teenager or young adult, they have given up on their dreams a long time ago, maybe 5, 7, 12. For whatever reason, they just stop dreaming or stop believing that they can achieve whatever it is that they want. And so they have no vision. Most young adults that I speak to and sit down with, and I talk to them about, okay, what do you want to create, and what are you up to next, and what road are you going down? A lot of them just say, I don't know. They have no vision. They haven't really sat down and gave themselves permission to create a vision, or create a vision board, or a dream, or they don't know what it looks like. They don't even have an idea. So right now, that's the first thing I'm going to say, is that a lot of teenagers and young adults lack vision. They also don't do the research. They're not on, if they're on the internet, they're not on the internet searching different possibilities for themselves. Or, hey, you know what? I really like acting. I'm going to start looking and reading blogs and researching about acting and what it takes and how much money they make. You know, they're not focused on whatever it is that they say they want and putting their whole heart and their whole energy into researching whatever it is that they love or they're passionate about. It just seems to me when I ask them questions, they're not clear about what it takes to even go down the path of following their dreams or following whatever it is that they like.
Yeah, I've also experienced a lot of, conversations with people at school and they're in their major, they're on track to graduate and to transfer to university and everything, but they don't know what they want to do. And so I was talking to one of my friends, and she's like in early childhood development, and she doesn't know really what she wants to do. And I just feel like there's a lot of pressure and urgency to figure it out, because she's already on track to graduate with this major, yet she doesn't know what she wants to do with it. And I think with going to school and working and trying to do everything at the same time, I think it's easy to just kind of go with the flow and coast and unconsciously be going to school maybe for something that you don't even want to be going to school for.
But that's the key distinction, is if you're unconsciously going to school because people told you to go to school and get your degree and that's what you're supposed to be doing, you could be unconsciously going down that road. But what it might take is a shift in consciousness to start realizing what it is that you do want. What are my desires? What does pique my curiosity? What does catch my attention and my interest? You can only cause that from an awakening of consciousness. And I think that you hit it right on the head there with that word, is they're unconsciously in this follow step by step of what their parents are asking them to do or have instilled in them, which is to get their degree. With their degree, now parlay that into some kind of job that you love doing. And I'm watching that come through, my business, as well as kids that either have their degree and they're like, okay, now what? But they're lacking the awareness and the awakening to even do the self-reflection to go, what do I want? There's a blockage there when it comes to doing self-reflection and checking in with self and realizing and noticing what I like, what I don't like. There's this whole other interpersonal journey that could be happening that's not, because either the kids don't know it, the young adults don't know it, and the parents don't know it. They've never been introduced to that kind of living.
Yeah, I think as far as unconsciously, you were saying that there's things that parents instilled in their kids, like you go to school and then you get a job, and I don't necessarily think that it's most of the time the parents. I think that's just something that you do to kill time or to try to figure out what it is you want to do. And a lot of the time you're not even really on, I don't want to say the right track, but you're not even on the track that you want to be in the end, because like you said, there's no self-reflection and there's no figuring it out.
Yeah, another thing I'm noticing is some other distinctive things are, besides the no research and not having the vision or goals or not knowing what to do, but there's also, they don't know what kind of sacrifice it's going to take. They're really not aware of what sacrifice really means. No one really explains it to them. Their parents aren't talking about it. They're not teaching them about sacrifice and what hard work takes. They don't know what kind of prices they're going to have to pay on the front end to be able to have the goodies 3, 5, 10, 15 years from now. So they're lacking the ability to understand or wrap their mind around that they're going to have to sacrifice some things, giving up some stuff, maybe time out with their friends. They have to start shaving stuff off, spending too much money, or wasting your brain energy on social media and all these little other things that really aren't that important. They also lack some focus. I'm noticing there's some focus that they just haven't dialed in, and for whatever reason, they can't just look at something or think about something and just be obsessed with it in a good way. If they are obsessed with something, usually it's things that aren't setting themselves up to win. So that's kind of how that looks. Another thing I'm noticing is they don't have outlets, like healthy outlets, to turn to somebody and vent and share their frustrations, to get some of that emotional baggage that they're holding on to. They don't have an outlet to get that out. They also lack motivation. They don't have somebody that's speaking into their greatness, saying, yes, you can, or I believe in you, or what are you talking about? Of course you can do that. They don't have that kind of proper motivation around them. And then the last thing I think that's really bogging young adults down is they got a brain full of negativity. They got these self-limiting beliefs about themselves, as well as limiting beliefs about possibilities and the future. And they've made up all these stories about this world being so hard and challenging that it's almost like, no wonder why you guys are stressed. No wonder why you're demotivated, because you have this belief system and this point of view that is really hard. And you even have evidence, right? You've gone out to the world and you've been shot down a few times or rejected or, interviewed and not got the job. So it's challenging. I think we got a caller on the line. Let's take the caller. Caller, are you there?
Yeah. Hello.
Who are we speaking to?
This is Gabby.
Gabby.
Oh, this is our Jasmine and our friend Gabby. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for calling in. Tell us how old you are, and then what do you want to share about yourself or about the topic?
I am 20 years old, and I kind of had a question for you guys, maybe if you could help me out. Because I'm in a situation where I'm working a lot, I'm trying to save money, I'm trying to take that next step forward where I leave my family and go on to bigger and better things. But at the same time, I kind of feel like maybe my family is sabotaging me in a way, because every penny that I've earned has gone to them for something else, and I feel like I have an obligation to, or a responsibility to help them out when they need me, but at the same time, there's nothing left for me, and I'm not sure how to tell them, like back off, or what's the right way to go about this situation.
Yeah, I think that, one thing that when you share that, my heart gets warm, because I know you to be a loving and caring person. You love your family and you want them to win. But what I found out is through the years is that you can't have somebody win more than they need to want it for themselves. And to a certain point, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways because it's my job, to a certain point, you're an enabler. If you're helping somebody more than they are helping themselves, you're enabling. And it's funny because most of the time we think of enablers as parents being enablers. But if you're a parent and you have a thriving kid, or you've used your son or daughter to help you out, whether it's clean the house or watch the rest of the kids or whatever it is, if a parent has used the young adult or the teenager to lean on, and that teenager or that young adult steps up and really brings some huge value, the roles can switch, and now you got a young adult that is now enabling the parents. And from my perspective, from the outside looking in, it looks like there's a part of you that is, codependent on helping your family, and you're kind of stuck in this hamster wheel, and you're now creating this guilt. Like, if I don't help them, who's going to help them? Without realizing that when you stop helping them just a little bit at a time, in increments, what will happen is it's going to force them to figure out for themselves how to help themselves out. You have to wrap your mind around that concept and slowly start to pull away. And I'm not saying, if they've been dependent on you for so long and you've been helping them out, I'm not saying leave them high and dry, but in increments, start, deciding what percentage you're going to do. It's like that. It's like that old movie where the little kids are like, 1 for you, 1 for me. 2 for you, 2 for me. So you're going to have to start saying, look, 5 for me, 2 for you, 7 for me, 1.5 for you. And you're going to have to do it in increments. But I think if you do it a little bit at a time, you're slowly going to start making a declaration to yourself that you do matter. And I got to remind you, Gabby, in your 20s, you're now responsible for yourself. Right. You don't owe it to anybody other than from the gratitude of your heart to give back to your parents, because they're your parents and they sacrificed and gave you some of the things that you did need. Right. You can throw them a few bones here and there, but really understand the distinction between enabling and helping. And I think that as you're starting to wake up a little bit in a higher level of consciousness, you're starting to understand it a little bit more. Am I correct?
Yeah, I am. It's just, it's the guilt and it's the you're being selfish comments that, make it hard for me to
Absolutely.
say
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. And you got to remember, people that are codependent, they use tactics like that. They've trained themselves to put guilt on other people to kind of get what they want and to get their goodie, so that they don't have to go out and actually earn it or put in some effort or some courage.
I also think that another big factor is as far as making sure that they're on the same page as you. And I know that's really hard because you can't force somebody to understand something. But I do think that communication has a lot to do with it, because it takes a little bit of guilt off of you. So for instance, if you share maybe what your plans are, or what you're going to do, hey, I plan on moving out in 2 years, so you guys need, to step up or find some extra help or whatever it is. As long as you're communicating that, it's not like in 2 years you're just going to pack up all your things one day and leave. And I think that's a little bit more comforting for them to know, as also you don't feel so guilty because you know that they know now.
Yeah, don't make it this secret game plan where you're just going to all of a sudden plop it on them one day and just up and leave. If you're going to do it, let's do it in a powerful way, and it's to, like Jasmine said, communicate to them. Hey, look, guys, here's my goal for the next, year or year and a half. I'm going to start saving up to transition and move out on my own. So set them up to win. Start explaining to them, and then at the end of the day, but you're also going to have to hold your ground. You have to, when you make that communication to them and declare it, you're going to have to draw a line in the sand, and then when it comes down to it, you're going to have to, stand. You have to walk the line when it's time to walk it.
And there's a lot of little things too that you can do along the way. So, for instance, if you're trying to save money to move out and you need to work more and you're going to school, maybe now you communicate, hey, this is my plan, this is what I'm doing. I can't go grocery shopping anymore for the house. I can't, take the car into the shop. You work out a plan so that everybody wins, instead of the day you're supposed to go grocery shopping, not go and everyone expects you to.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I'm forgetting about the whole, communicating with my parents that this is my goal, this is my aspirations, this is what I plan to do, and I've kind of just dug it under the rug because I'm not for sure of what I want to do. It's just sort of an idea that I have. So, but it's right for me to emphasize that to them, or else they're not going to get it, and that's not fair to them either.
All right. Did we support you today with a little bit of insight, a little bit of perspective?
Yes, now I understand. I just have to have that talk, one of those talks.
Which might take a little bit of courage, right?
Yeah.
You can do it. I believe
it's going to be rough.
All right. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate the time.
Bye, Gabby.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon.
I like knowing that, there's some young adults out there that are at least taking baby steps to figure out how to persevere, how to win, how to have breakthroughs, how to grow, how to speak to their parents. One of the other things that I wanted to share when it comes to young adults and the things that I'm noticing that they're struggling with is, and Gabby kind of, touched on it a little bit, but the roles were reversed, and that's the enabling. I'm noticing a lot of parents have been enabling their kids for quite some time, and now all of a sudden, when it really becomes apparent is when they're in their 20s, they're 23, 24, and all of a sudden they're having conversations with their kids, and their kids are like, yeah, Mom, you don't know what you're talking about, and it's like they become now this know-it-all, but they have no results to back it up. And all the results they do have, guess who got them those results?
Their parents.
Their parents, right? All of a sudden, they're driving around in a brand new car. They're going out and doing all these things, and they got money in their pocket, but they're not earning it. They're not earning that amount of money or those things, and so what it really boils down to is the parent just having a real honest look at themselves and just go, wow. Look what I've created. I've created this know-it-all kid that is challenging me, has this huge game plan all in his or her head, and they think that the world is going to just respond to them when they go out there, and you know what I'm saying? And it's really like as a parent, we create that. I had to look at, wow, I've created my son talking back to me. I've created my daughter telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. Like that's a byproduct of either who I was being or who I wasn't being in raising them.
Do you think that they happen to think that maybe they created a kid that doesn't really know how to work hard or doesn't know how to reach their goals or know how to get there. So that's why they enable them. That's why they buy them the nice car, and that's why they give them money, and why they let them talk to them that way is because they know that this is the kind of kid they created, so they need to help them, or they feel like they need to help them.
No, I think they live in the illusion that they're going to snap out of it, or they're ignoring it. They just keep putting the money up. They keep covering them, bailing them out. Oh, you need that, and and they'll just do it, but yet they'll complain about it, or they will try to seek for support or help from external sources, rather than having the biggest breakthrough of their lifetime and realizing, what, I'm actually a part of this dysfunction. Like my son or daughter showing up this way because I'm part of it. I've been playing a part of it. I think that's the power play. And that's where I work best when I'm coaching with parents, is coaching the parents on having the breakthroughs. See, if I coach the parents on having their own interpersonal breakthroughs and getting clarity about what's missing from them, and as soon as the parents start making their adjustments, guess who responds?
Their kids.
Their kids start to shift and change, and there's actually breakthroughs happening with the kids. But a lot of times parents come to me and they expect me to coach the kid, and I'm coaching a kid to have them have their own challenges and their breakthroughs, but it doesn't matter because they'll go back home and just continue to get enabled by their parents. So it's like you're really not setting me up to win to support your kids, because when I'm not around through the back door, little Johnny or little Brenda's getting their little payoff there.
Yeah, and I love that you said that, because one of my favorite trainings that you offer is the ParentTeen Training, because it's like it's like having two separate trainings but together, which is really great. The parent training and then the kid or teen training together. And there's nothing worse for me than hearing a kid from the training give feedback afterwards and say, you know what, I felt great, and then I went home and my mom was still the same. And I think that's really rough, and that's something that most kids, I've never heard anybody be able to get over it or get over that obstacle until their parents go to a training, or until their parents have this higher level of consciousness. And that's why I love the ParentTeen Training so much, because it's just like everything that both of them needs.
Yeah.
It's like all the information.
And that actually came out of having so many teen trainings through the years, and then having my own epiphany that, hey, if I really want to make the biggest difference, I got to have them both in there. I got to do work with both of them. And that's kind of how that came out.
Sounds great. We'll get more to it after the break. Stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.